All right, what's up, everybody? It's Michael Tucker, your host of the Real Estate Success Strategies podcast. Thank you for tuning in today. We have a very, very special guest. Chris Root is in the building. Chris is America's number one wholesaling expert coach. But one thing I love about Chris is you're going to find out Chris does everything. He's not a one-trick pony, but Chris, man, he has experience in wholesaling, fix and flipping, doing hotel deals. He actually today we're going to be talking about one of the best asset classes you could be, doubling down on right now, which is mobile home park investing. And we're going to be talking about that with Chris. So, Chris, welcome to the show, brother. How's it going?
Good, man. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I'm excited about talking about mobile home parks.
Anytime, man. Well, Chris, dude, I've been following you for probably it's been a couple it's been a couple of years now. I think the first time I actually heard about you was through Grant Cardone a while back, and I was like, who is this Chris Rude guy? I can't remember if you were sponsoring an event he was doing or something like that, but I was like, I got to figure out. So I've been following Chris for a while, and whenever you're hearing his words and everything that he's about to say, this dude lives real estate, breathes real estate, everything. This guy is the real deal. So make sure that, when you're listening, know that I 100% believe in what this guy's doing because I've been following him for, a while, and I've seen his progress. And actually, if you don't know, Chris, he owns, I'd say it's well over, I seen your website, it's like 22 million in your portfolio right now, but I'm sure it's well over that now. You're buying stuff left and right. But yeah, Chris, give us a little rundown about who you are and how you found real estate in general.
Yeah, well, I'm from South Louisiana, born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana. I'm 40 years old. Been an entrepreneur my whole life, right? Always had a knack for selling shit. I was selling baseball cards out of the back of my book sack in fourth and fifth grade, trying to make a hustle. And very, very hard headed as a kid. Not the greatest student. Well, I was bad. Let's put it that way. Labeled ADD, ADHD, dyslexic, all the labels they give kids these days when they can't sit still. And I kind of struggled my way through school. And when I got out of high school, went to college. Wanted to start my own business and started a business out of the back of my truck my sophomore year in college, changing oil, washing cars, and fixing rock chips, and grew that thing into a monster business. By the time I graduated college, I was making $100,000 a year out of the back of my truck, and decided I would, get physical locations because I was doing on site, right? And I knew I couldn't scale that model, but I didn't have the capital to buy any locations. So at that time, this is like 05, 06, the real estate market was on fire, kind of like it is right now, right before the 08 crash. I don't know how old you are to remember the 08 crash, if you were, paying attention back then, but we had a massive real estate disruption in 08. But up until then, 05, 06, 07 was just crazy times for real estate. I was 25 years old. I had enough cognitive awareness to know at the time that people were selling their houses for a multiple that was crazy. Like you could buy a house and resell it within 6 to 8 months and make 50 grand. It was crazy. So I had built a spec house, I think like 3-4 years prior to that. And I realized how much our house had appreciated. And I told my wife, I said, baby, let's flip our house. This is right around the time all these HGTV shows are showing flip my house. And so I was like, let's do it. She's like, okay, let's do it. And painted a few rooms, landscaped the front, put it on MLS, and sold it within 30 days. I made $125,000 my first.
I'm sure that was a big chunk of change at that time, wasn't it, for you?
Absolutely. It was huge, right? I mean, I was 25. This is 05, 06, right? And it was a big chunk of change. And I took that capital and I reinvested it into my oil change business. I bought a physical location in one of the best areas in my town here in South Louisiana, Lafayette, from a motivated seller who wasn't paying his property taxes or taxes in general. And I picked it up for a pretty good deal and literally doubled my income. Well, after that, I was like, man, there's something to this real estate game, right? I just made $125,000. You know how many oil changes and car washes I got to do to make $100,000? I made that. Shit, there's something. Well, I bought a piece of land on the bayou. If you don't know the bayou, it's not a river, it's not a canal, it's like a muddy channel of water out of Louisiana. And I bought a property. We were going to build a house. I was like, you know what? I don't want to do that. Let's go ahead and flip that too. So I bought that property, sat on it for 3 months, resold that, made $40,000, put that into my business too. And then we bought a foreclosure in another area, lived there for about a year and a half, fixed that up, flipped that, made 62,000. So I was taking real estate and I was flipping it and I was rolling it into my business, right? And I scaled up to like 4 locations, 33 employees, quick lube, mechanic shop, auto glass, window tint, car wash. And so I got so busy with that, from doing the real estate, I rolled all that profit in there, but I got so busy with the shops that I forgot about real estate, right? So I focused on that for about 4 or 5 years. And come 2010, I was like, I need to get back into real estate. So I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, probably 09, 2010. I was like, man, I got to get back into real estate. And took the profits I was making from all my shops. I was doing really good. I was probably 26, 27, 28, making really good money. And I ended up buying like 32, 33 single family homes. I'm making tons of offers and got marginal deals. Didn't really know what I was doing. Well, scaled up to 33 houses. Then 2014 came and I got hammered because here in the South, we're heavily dependent on oil and gas, and the oil business just, oil went from $128 a barrel to $28 a barrel. South crushed. I lost half my rentals, my tenants, my shops, my quick lube shops were losing revenue every quarter. And I was panicking and I was like, I'm having to go bankrupt, file bankruptcy. Right around the same time, by the grace of God, I was looking into wholesaling. Like what is wholesaling? I was messing around on YouTube. I saw this black guy talking about wholesaling. So I was like, what's wholesale? Let me check this out. How the hell you wholesale real estate? Watch a couple of videos. Like, that makes a lot of sense. Let me try it. I did it on a couple of my properties, ended up making, 2,500, $5,000, 15 grand here. And I was like, shit, I could do this. So I ended up hiring like 3 mentors back to back to back. And after my mentorship, like I started freaking crushing wholesaling, like crushing it. I was making 40, 50, 60, 80, 100 grand a month wholesaling while still running my shops. And literally wholesaling saved me from going bankrupt because in the middle of this devastation, this economic fallout here in South Louisiana, there was a lot of motivated sellers. So it was the perfect environment to wholesale because people were selling their properties for cheap. So literally I was wholesaling 10, 15 properties and I was able to cover all my losses with my shops were pretty much starting to break even, barely make any money, if that. So I said, you know what? I told my manager, look, I'm not even looking at these shops anymore. I threw them the keys and said, hey, look, don't call me unless somebody dies. I focus 100% on real estate. And then I started selling off all my shops. And then I started selling off all my rentals that I had bought at a razor thin margin because I was, I thought it was cool because I was buying at 80, 85 cents on the dollar. And in a strong market, you seem cool, but when the market pulls back, if you're buying at 80, 85 cents on the dollar, that equity you capture evaporates quick. Right.
Yeah, definitely.
So what wholesaling taught me was that, man, you can buy properties for way cheaper than 80 cents on the dollar. And that's what kind of saved me. I started selling off all those single family homes, selling off of my shops. And I started, winging myself off of the shop and these single family homes until I finally got rid of most of the single family homes. I still have a couple single family homes left from that package I'm about to sell off. And then I still have one shop that shop I had is still losing money because I can't sell it. I think I'm 800 grand in the negative in my P&L on that shop.
Dang, man.
But I was able to transition 100% to real estate. And from there, I was just freaking crushing it, right? And the coaches that I had hired asked me to go work in their sales department, and I started, selling coaching for them. And I was posting checks, making 80s, 40 grand, 50 grand, and all the students come inbox, hey man, can you help me? This, I'm like, dude, I'm just a sales guy. Why you inboxing me? Call you coach, right? And that happened enough that I was like, shit, I'm just gonna start my own coaching company, right? And I started teaching people how to wholesale and flip real estate, and then from there, years passed by. I grew my my wholesaling business into multiple markets. Now we're in about 6 markets in 3 states, and we're just crushing it. I've transitioned from, single family homes into mobile home parks. I bought my first mobile home park probably 3.5, 4 years ago, and realized the cash flow on it was unbelievable compared to anything else I had done. Single family homes, apartments, short-term vacation rentals. And I realized that this is the asset class I want to be in. And I figured out that Warren Buffett is heavily invested in mobile home parks. And if this guy is, putting a lot of attention on mobile home parks, I must be doing something right because, he's got a huge portfolio. He owns the biggest the two biggest manufacturers in the whole country, Clayton Mobile Homes, and I forget the name of that other company. And he owns 21st Century, the mobile home park financer that finances all the retail buyers. Plus, he's one of the biggest holders of mobile home parks in the whole country. So double down on mobile home parks now. We've got about 350 units, 8 parks, and looking to scale that and scale my real estate business. Kind of transitioned into building out affordable housing developments and doing land development for residential. And man, I'm just pushing real hard. This is the best I've seen since 2007 and 6 as far as the real estate market. So there's my
man. Well, that's cool to see how you pivoted in the time, when your businesses, everything seemed to be going south, you found a way. But my question was I see you, and you're crushing it with the mobile home parks, and this may be a deep question, but how did you get to the point to where you could automate your wholesaling business? 'Cause I'm sure you're not hands-on with that right now. And I'm sure you have a good team. Is that just hiring the right people? What's that look like for you?
Man, look, business is easy. Money is easy. People is hard, right? That's the hard part, right? And if you can figure out people and you're good with people and you're a good communicator and you're a good leader, and that's all a leader is a really a good communicator, then you can figure out the business aspect of it and the money aspect. I mean, we built out a pretty big operation here, a pretty big team, and I have a lot of people that have been with me for a long time. Hell, my CFO has been with me for 15 years. She's a girl and she's been with me, Jan. She used to run all my Quick Lubes, and she kind of transitioned with me from the Quick Lubes and mechanic shops to the real estate with me. And she's been phenomenal. We've got 3 girls in the office that have been there 5+ years that run the office. And then we have boots on the ground partners in the markets that we wholesale and flip in that are basically that I've met through my coaching program that I've either mentored or and then they wanted to scale and they wanted to partner up with me in those markets, and I've taken my best students and I've partnered up with them. So I've taken the highest quality people I can out of my coaching program and partnered with them, and that's really been my model. The coaching has really helped me scale my actual real estate business in the different markets across the country, because I was able to network with a lot of awesome like-minded people that have the same mindset as me, the same goals and aspirations, and just good quality people. And that's what it's about. I mean, if you got good people, man, you can scale just about anything.
Love it, dude. Love it. No, that's so true. And I love how you said leaders are communicators. So that's so true. But my question was, so you said you jumped into, did you do multifamily at any time after wholesaling? And do you hold multifamily right now? And let's compare the two between mobile home parks and multifamily. Because if you follow Chris at all, right now he is on the mobile home train. Like that's what you just heard him. He's doubling down on that. So what's your thoughts on multifamily versus mobile home park investing?
Well, look, I'm not going to sit here and beat up multifamily apartments because I still own some apartments.
Right.
I still will buy apartments, but I know for me, with my experience that I've had with both, the returns are just astronomically better in mobile home parks. And I can take on, let's just go over a step-by-step why, right? For one, I don't have to take on as much debt, right? I could buy a mobile home park. Let's say case in point, I bought a mobile home park from a distressed seller 2 years ago, 24 units for $210,000. 24 units for $210,000. You cannot buy 24 unit apartment for $10,000, no matter how distressed it is. It would have to be burnt down to the ground, and you just be buying the land, right?
Right.
So for one, the amount of debt that you have to take on to get the amount of cash flow is substantial in mobile home park investing than apartments. That's the first. Secondly, repairs. Repairs are significantly less compared to apartments as far as what it costs to fix, right? I can, if I have a busted pipe on a mobile home, I just slide the skirting over. My guy goes in there, changes a $25 or a $5 part, and it's done, right? If you have a busted pipe in an apartment complex, if it's in the concrete, it could be 5, 10, 15 grand, right?
Right.
Everything about it to fix it is just cheaper. I could throw a metal roof on there for $1,500 and I'm done forever. So that's the second aspect. It's just super affordable to fix. 3, they stay longer. Statistically speaking, the average turnaround in an apartment is 14 months. The average tenant in an apartment complex stays for 14 months. The average tenant in a single family home stays for 2 to 2.5 years. The average tenant in a mobile home stays for 5 years. Not much.
Wow. That's a big difference.
That is triple the amount for apartments, right? Or 4 times actually. So those are some of the reasons why I like mobile homes. And second, and fourthly, right, is that it's affordable, right? I mean, shit, an average apartment in a decent area these days is like 12 to 1,500 bucks, or more in a city. You can get a mobile home out in the outskirts of city for, and really nice for 800 to 1,000, and it could almost be brand new, right? With more living space, more square feet. You don't have somebody on top of you, somebody underneath you, somebody to the left or somebody to the right, like an apartment of your own yard. So that's another benefit. And then as far as there was something else I wanted to say. That was a fifth point that I was going to follow up with. It will come back to me, but just overall, that was it. So in the fifth point, right? Inventory, right? Inventory. So let's just say, so if I have a 40 unit of a mobile home park, right? If some of it's tenant owned trailers and they move some of their trailers out, and I want to put one of my own trailers in there, I can literally buy units for pennies on the dollar. If you follow me, I literally buy like trailers that are maybe 8, 9, 10 years old for peanuts. I'm talking 2,500 to $5,000. I just bought a 2009 trailer, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Doesn't need any work. I mean, they use it as just a little camp that they put on a piece of property on a pond. I bought it for $5,000. It cost me 2,500 to move it, another 2,500 to set up. I'm all in at 10,000. I'll get 750, 800 bucks for that.
You can't get a better rate of return on that, then.
No, it doesn't exist. I mean, there's nothing. That's a 1-year payback. That's insane, right? And I buy these trailers like this all the time. I bought trailers. I bought another 2009 the month before that for 2,250 bucks. That needed maybe, I think, 3,500 to $4,000 worth of work. So the inventory that I can use to put into these parks across the nation is plentiful, because a lot of people buy these trailers, they live in them for 5, 10 years, and they upgrade to a single family home, or they want a newer, nicer trailer, or they just move somewhere else. And it's hard for them to sell it because banks don't like to lend on used trailers. So it makes a niche for me, because I'm an investor. I can go in there and offer cash, and literally they'll sell it to me for pennies on a dollar. I bought one last week, a 2017 Clayton 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 16 by 80. I think they paid $57,900 for it 2.5 years ago. I bought it for $26,000. I'll get $1,000 to $1,100 for that trailer. I just moved it into one of my parks here in Denham Springs, or here over in Denham Springs, Louisiana, right outside of Baton Rouge. I'll be all in on that park or in that trailer. 26. I paid $3,000 to move it, another $3,000 set up. I'll be into it for $31,000. I'll get $1,000 to $1,100, and it's good.
Man, that's crazy.
Trailers, man, they don't last long. Bullshit. I have older trailers that are from the 80s. They sit on the frame. You just gut them and redo them just like you would an apartment. It's no different than we gut an apartment. They sit on a frame. You change the subfloor, the floors, the sheetrock, and it's a brand new trailer. Literally, it's good for another 25, 30 years. The metal's not going to go bad.
Right. No, I love it, man. So, I mean, everybody, you're probably like, dang, I need to get in a mobile home park investing. Just stay till the end. We actually have a way that you can actually take your education on mobile home park investing a little bit further with Chris. So I just want to throw that out there, because, there's several people that are like, man, this is awesome. But so we know that these are good investments, but how do you find a mobile home park, landlord that wants to sell their park? Like, I know you're going to go deeper into some trainings you're doing off this podcast, but what's like the basics? How do you find these? Because it's a little different than calling up, just a random homeowner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it's not too much different, right? I mean, it all boils down to what the name of the game is motivated seller, right? That's all I'm looking for. And if you're into, buying single family homes, or you're wholesaling already, and you go direct to seller, and you know how to, find heavily discounted off market properties for motivated sellers on the single family home side, you just transition that to mobile homes, right? So how do I find them, right? I mean, I find them through off-market listings through realtors, pocket listings. I network with all the realtors. Say, hey, look, I buy mobile home parks, and mobile home park investing is not very well. It's not as hot as say apartments, and owning the trailers is kind of cliche in the sense that, oh, you don't want to own the trailers, too much maintenance. I'm glad people think that, because that gives me an opportunity to buy more. It gets people not looking at it, and I want to be in a niche, right? The rich is in the niches, and me owning the trailers, for me, that's a niche, because all the bigger money, hedge fund money, and bigger players are trying to buy tenant owned parks where they just do lot rent. They rent the dirt because they don't want any headache. But for me, I have a team. We have an office, and we have a good system where we fix everything, and it works for us, right? And we double our profits versus just renting out the dirt. And that's a good model too if you want to be less hands on.
So do you manage yourself? Does your team manage all these yourself, or do you have a management team that does that?
Every park we own in Louisiana, we have 7 parks in Louisiana. We have the main office in Lafayette, manages all the park in Rouge, Lafayette, which is about an hour and a half away. And we have in-house management. The park I own in Florida, we do have a property manager out there, and it works. I mean, but if you just a word of advice, if you're buying your first park, if you're trying to hire management, it just sometimes it doesn't work. I would suggest you would need to get at least 20 units or more to make property manager work, just from a pure cash flow, because the management is going to eat up all your fees, and are they going to charge you a lot of fees, and they don't typically try to save you money when it comes to repairs, right? You want to have a maintenance guy that you can pay $15, $16, $17, $18 an hour, give them free rent or half month's rent for free to fix stuff, and it's going to save you boatloads of money, versus having a property manager, because you have a little busted pipe, you call a plumber, they charge you $250, $350 every time something goes wrong, when you could have had a maintenance guy there that fixed it for $20, right? You paid him $17, $18 an hour, and the part was $2.
Right.
So that's kind of what you need to take into account. So if you're just getting started off, you would definitely want, if you can manage it yourself to save a few bucks, great. If you don't have the time, then I would suggest getting a park big enough to bet a higher management, which would be say 20 units or more.
Gotcha. And so would you recommend somebody find a park in their home state first, or, does it matter, do you think?
Yeah, I think you'd try everything in your backyard first, because you need to be the proximity to it is going to help you can control it better. If you're not, especially when you first get started, once you scale and you understand the model, you understand the ins and outs, the problems that come with it, then you can buy something out of state. So I wouldn't go and try to buy something out of state right away if you have no experience. And another thing that's going to be tough for most people is getting debt on it, right? A lot of banks don't want to finance it. We don't use agency money. The big institutional banks, they don't want to mess with the park owned trailers. They want to just do lot rent with city sewer, city water, paved roads. They look at it as a depreciating asset. Great. That's just it niches it down even more for me. I want something super niche. So what we do is we develop relationships with the small community banks, the banks that are local. If you have a relationship with them and you show them the potential, it may be tough getting your first one done, but once you get that first one done, you're golden, and you can buy as many as you want.
Love it. No, I'm glad you said that, because actually we flip properties here in a very small town in Kentucky. So not too far from you, but we're down the road. And, we build that relationship with a local community bank. And because we have so much trust with them, man, they will do anything for us right now. And it's amazing to see what can happen when you partner with your local banks and show them the potential that you have as a real estate investor. But no, man, I love that. And, a lot of people have different stigmas. I'm glad you mentioned you actually buying the homes itself and renting those out versus lot rent, because I feel like that's the biggest misconception is, and even for myself, like I've always thought that, hey, we just want lot rent. We just want lot rent. But it makes it seem like you're making it seem like that, hey, let's actually buy the homes too. Because if you know how to do it well, you can double your money and make even better returns.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you want to have nicer, newer homes that would, your first park, you may have to buy an older. The first park I bought was a 24 unit. Most of the trailers in there were, 80s model trailers, but the owner kept them up pretty well. And we didn't, it took us about 8 months to rehab the ones that he hadn't fixed up. And that park makes, I mean, that I paid 405,000 for that park 3.5, 4 years ago. And it was only getting 7,800 at the time. Now that park, now it gets 13.8, right? And I probably put 100 grand into it. So I'm into it for 505, getting 13,800. Where can you get an apartment that's getting $13,800 in income for $500,000 after renovation? That park right now is worth probably about 950 million bucks.
That's crazy. That's
So
crazy,
I can
man.
I can take on way less debt, get way more cash flow. Everything's cheaper. They stay there longer. Not that you're not going to have problems. Yeah, look, it is a lower end style tenant. It's, but we don't take on Section 8. We don't do any of that. We want working class people that are just looking for a safe, affordable place to live. They'll stay there for a long time. I've seen it. I mean, we've had these parks now for almost going on 4 years now, and the turnover is not bad at all. Like they stay for the most part. So
Right. And so when you're looking to add value to these parks, because you were mentioning it, briefly earlier. So how do you add value to a mobile home park? Like, I know you gave some examples, moving newer parks in, renovating old ones, but what are other ways that you can add value to a mobile home park and, community?
you can pave the roads. You can try to call the city and see if it's possible to tap into city sewer, city water. You can, renovate the inside of these trailers. I mean, literally, you can spend 10 grand and make a trailer look brand new on the inside. You can, and you're done, right? You could put we put the laminate, not the vinyl planks, the luxury vinyl planks, the plastic ones. We spend a little bit more money on them because they're like bulletproof. That once you put them in, we never have to change the floors again. We do that. We put a metal roof, a tin roof. We the whole inside. We Yeah, I mean, we like to put picnic tables, make it more family stack up picnic tables. Matter of fact, a really nice park we bought in Denham Springs that we're rehabbing right now. We're putting all brand new trailers for the most part, and we're putting picnic tables in between each one with some swings, just to make it really nice. Put lighting. You can put, for a night, make it really nice. Listen, at the end of the day, commercial property is valued based off the cash flow,
Mm,
right? So if I can increase the cash flow, then the value of these parks are going to go up. And as more and more people come more and more aware of mobile home park investing, bigger money like Wall Street and hedge funds and bigger players are slowly, like Blackstone, they're the biggest mobile home park. I'm sorry, Blackstone's the biggest hedge fund in the world. And they just announced about 6 months ago they're buying up $500 million worth of mobile home parks in America. If they don't tell you something, that's the writing on the wall. Big money's moving into mobile home parks. Warren Buffett's been in mobile home parks, but he's been real quiet about it. So as you see these bigger players go into the market, they're going to buy at a lower cap rate, which is going to drive the price up. And these smaller mom and pop parks are going to become worth more and more and more as time goes by and people chase these. Just like what happened. I mean, 10 years ago, you better buy an apartment complex at a 10 cap. I mean, sometimes a 12 cap. You can't do it no more. They don't exist. Because why? Wall Street's people like Blackstone, Grant Cardone Capital buying up everything at a 4 or 5, 6 cap because they just need to place money because they got so much capital. What does that do? It drives the price up. That's the same thing's going to happen with mobile home park investing over time, especially with the economy like it is. COVID-19, people losing their job, people always need a place to live. They're just going to go from a high-end apartment or luxury condo or a single-family home. They're going to drop down to maybe a nicer mobile home, right, for $1,000 a month or $1,100, $1,200. They were paying maybe $1,500 to $2,000 for their high-end apartment or single-family home. They're just going to drop down.
I love
It's
it, man.
a buffer zone. I want to be in something that's recession-proof, and I do think that this business is recession-proof.
Yeah, man. Well, I've always thought the same thing, especially where I live, smaller town USA, that is, and I don't want to say it in a bad way. A lot of times people look at them in lower class housing, but like we said, if something bad happens, who knows what's going to happen over the next couple of years, man. Like you and I both don't know what's going to happen, within the next couple of years, but I feel the same way as you. This is going to be a great asset class to be in. So if people are watching right now, let's jump on in. You have an event coming up where you're
Yep.
actually going to be, helping people learn the ropes of mobile home investing. So tell us a little bit about that, man.
Yep. So I put on masterminds, at my beach house in Destin, Florida. Then I'm at my house here in Louisiana. So this next mastermind, June 11th and 12th, we're doing one in Lafayette at my office and at my house. We're going to do a 2-day boot camp where we're going to go over the whole business model in my house. Then we're going to go to the office that afternoon and talk with all the girls in the office, their whole process and procedures and their systems. Then the next day we're going to go, and I rented a party bus. We're going to take all the students and we're going to drive to 7 parks and go break down each park and talk about them, how I got them, the before and afters, what the cash flow is on them, how I got them, what we did as far as rehabs. And then we're going to have a good old time that night, go to a nice Cajun restaurant. Right. So, yeah.
Love it. So you said that is in June, and where can people actually go if they want to learn more about this event? And how do they get signed up if they're like, dude, I want to learn more about mobile home park investing. This is something that Chris has convinced me on. Where do I go?
Yeah, you can inbox me, or you can go to chrisruud.com. It's probably easier just to inbox me. And look, and even if you can't come to the event, I do virtual coaching. We have group coaching. We have one-on-one. I have courses if you can't make it out to the event. On these events, 2, 3, 4 times a year. So it's no big deal if you can't make it out to the one in June. Offer, 1-day workshops where you can come and just spend 1 day with me at the office, just me and you one-on-one. So there's a lot of different options, right? I don't just do the masterminds, right? And maybe you're interested in wholesaling and flipping. Maybe you're watching this, you don't even have a rental property. I don't suggest you going from not knowing anything about real estate to doing mobile home park investing. I would learn how to wholesale first, because wholesaling ties into mobile home park investing very tightly. Because if you know how to wholesale, then you can source cheap units from your wholesaling business to put in your parks. And that's really been my magic formula. They're very symbiotic, right?
Oh yeah, dude, I love that. And so many people, they forget that aspect of it, because that's what we do in our business. Leads come in and we decide what we want to do with them, right? And actually, I was on your website a while back, and I remember, on there, you're like, you went from 80% wholesaling to 20% flipping, right? And doing hotel deals, but now it's the opposite, because you learned what to do with those leads when they came in. So, finding off-market deals at pennies on the dollar, like Chris is doing, that's going to be the start of it. That's going to be the start. So make sure you're following Chris, and I'm guessing they can just find you on social media, right? At Chris Ruud.
Yeah. If they want to follow me on social media, maybe, hey, look, maybe you're not ready to even do anything. You just want to follow me. I give away the farm. Like, I show my whole life. Me and my wife are full-time real estate investors. We live a crazy life. I got 5 kids. We eat, sleep, and breathe real estate. You can follow me at Real Estate Ruud on Instagram. And then you can follow me at Chris Ruud Entrepreneur on my business page on Facebook. And yeah, I mean, we give away so much free content. Like I said, you can learn how to do it just from my free content, or go to YouTube.
Yeah, definitely. I would recommend following him, guys. And I love, it's cool because whenever you follow Chris, not only are you learning about real estate, but you actually see the lifestyle behind it. And then plus he's posting funny content on there all the time. I love it, man. I just love following you, and you get to actually hear his heart about, why he loves real estate investing and what they're doing right now to make the most out of it. So go follow Chris on all social media platforms, or go to chrisruud.com and make sure you join in and, message him about that mobile home park investing mastermind that he's hosting this June. If you have some deals in your belt and you're out there, actually buying rentals currently, this may be something that you want to add to your tool belt, because like we say, we don't want you to be a one-trick pony. We want you to know how to do everything so that you can be the best investor that you can be. Well, Chris, thanks for coming on, man. I don't want to take all your time. I know you got things to do. You're a busy man, but we really appreciate you coming on the show.
Hey, man, I appreciate you having me.
Anytime. Well, guys, if you like episodes like today and you like this podcast, don't forget, hit the subscribe button, leave us a review, let us know how we did, and we would greatly appreciate it. We do this every Tuesday on all podcast platforms. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen from, you can find the Real Estate Success Strategies podcast. So God bless you guys, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, Chris.